Good morning everybody, good morning, it's JPR and welcome back to another video. So the long-awaited Diamond and Pearl remakes have finally been announced and there is a lot to unpack here, in addition to the other newly revealed game, Pokemon Legends Arceus, which I'm sure we'll also discuss sooner rather than later, but for today I purely want to focus on the keys to success for Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, and how they could be just as good or even surpass the originals. From the trailer we just got, it looks like these games are going to be incredibly faithful. No signs of Dynamax or an expanded dex, it just straight up looks like Diamond and Pearl in 3D. Even the Chibis came back. So right off the bat, it appears to be a much more tame remake than what we got with Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Oras. This looks more akin to Fire Red / Leaf Green, but that's just my impression based on a 2-minute trailer. Who knows what might be ahead. But before we get down to business, let's give a big thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Surfshark VPN. It's an easy-to-use VPN that protects all of your valuable personal data as you surf the web. But beyond being a normal VPN, Surfshark can be installed and run on unlimited devices with only one subscription. You can also use it to bypass region-locked content on platforms like Netflix or YouTube, just simply by connecting to VPN servers where that content is available. You can also use it while traveling to reach your favorite sites, bank accounts, and avoid price discrimination based on your location. To keep yourself protected and more, you can try it out using the code JPR for an 83% discount plus 3 extra months for free. Now that's a deal you can't beat. Check out the link in the description to get started. To me, the most important thing that these remakes have to have is a solid regional dex. Bare minimum, it needs to be based on Platinum and not Diamond and Pearl. Diamond and Pearl genuinely have the worst regional dex in any Pokemon game by a long shot, and it significantly hinders the replay value of those games. Of the 108 Pokemon introduced in Generation 4, only 79 of them are present in the original Diamond and Pearl Pokedex, which only gives you about a dozen viable evolution lines to work with if you're exclusively using Pokemon new to Sinnoh. Beyond just that, the Diamond and Pearl dex only has 150 Pokemon total, and the ones from the older generations that they chose to return are pretty lackluster. Like seriously, this region already has 2 native bug-type lines. Why did Wurmple and his family have to come back and occupy 5 whole dex slots? 150, even in 2006, was a pretty poor amount. The only other games to have so few Pokemon in their regional dexes are the Kanto games and Pokemon Black and White, but at least those dexes contain nothing but new Pokemon. And if we go back to 150 in 2021, it's going to feel even worse, especially considering Galar had 400 Pokemon in its dex, Alola had 400 in the Ultra games, X and Y had 450, and Black 2 and White 2 had 300. Now I know the last 3 gens have only introduced 70 to 80 new Pokemon, not counting new forms, so some people may be thinking, why is it a big deal if Diamond and Pearl only had 79? But at least the new games expanded the overall number of Pokemon that you can catch in the region to compensate for the lack of new Pokemon. Diamond and Pearl did not do that, so you're just left with an extremely crappy regional dex. And honestly, I'm just tired of seeing the Sinnoh has no fire types meme. Like, it's not funny, it's a genuine game design issue. And electric types are almost just as bad. They basically only have Luxray, Pachirisu, and Raichu in Diamond and Pearl. It's bad out there. Like I said, bare minimum, it needs to be expanded to the dex of 210 Pokemon from Platinum. At least then you'd have all the Gen 4 Pokemon minus a few legendaries. But even that is a little underwhelming by today's standards. As I mentioned, the norm for the past few games has been about 300 to 400 Pokemon in the dex. So what I would do is add all the Pokemon from the dual slot mode to the regional dex. In case you don't remember, dual slot mode would give you a few extra encounters in most areas, and usually those Pokemon would correspond to whichever Game Boy Pokemon cartridge you had in the bottom slot of your DS. Obviously, you can't have dual slot mode on a Nintendo Switch, so I think a cool way for it to live on would just be if those Pokemon got initiated into the Sinnoh dex, and that would at least add another 30-ish Pokemon to the dex. Maybe they'll add in a few more and just make it an even 250. I think that would be plenty, honestly. But of course, the main reason I want this is just because I'd be able to catch a Growlithe on Route 201 immediately, which, come on, can you blame me? That sounds amazing. Now, I need to address an even bigger elephant in the room, the National Dex. I really don't know how the devs are going to tackle this. And this is just my theory. You can go ahead and call me a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, I don't really care, but I have to imagine that the removal of the National Dex may be the reason why these games look so radically different from Sword and Shield. I'd be very surprised if this game has any connectivity to Sword and Shield outside of Pokemon Home Transfer. I mean, if there's no Dynamax, then that's already a problem if you're trying to Wi-Fi battle against someone from Galar. Now, I know that in Gen 6 we had these things called the Kalos rules, where you couldn't use the 20 new Mega Evolutions introduced in ORAS if you were battling against someone who had XY, but here, with the National Dex issue, it would be a comprehensive list of hundreds of obscure Pokemon that you can and cannot use. It would be a complete mess. I think Game Freak is sticking to their word about the National Dex not coming back, because if it did, then people would just wonder why it wasn't in Sword and Shield, and then those games would just look even worse in retrospect. That being said, they absolutely need to have the first 493 Pokemon programmed and playable in this game, because it is going to look really bad if the original games from 15 years ago have Pokemon playable in them that you can't even obtain in the remakes. So the first 4 generations need to be intact. This wouldn't even require that many more Pokemon to be patched back into the game that aren't already in Sword and Shield. The next thing we desperately need is an HM workaround, or just a reduced number of HMs in general. You can have your Defog and your Rock Smash, but those do not need to be HMs. Heck, Fly doesn't even need to be an HM. Surf, Strength, Waterfall, Rock Climb. That's it. That's all you need. Actually, you don't even need Strength, since Escape Rope is a key item now. It's a lot harder to softlock yourself by deleting an HM move. Or alternatively, just don't put them in the game at all. Nobody likes having to run to the Pokemon Center, grab their B-Barrel with 4 HM moves, cross one route, and then immediately take him out of the party again. It's just tiresome. Either make them key items, or just bring back ride Pokemon in some capacity. There are so many solutions to this, I'm not going to go into them all. Just know that if I boot up the game and I see that there are still 8 different HMs, I'm gonna scream. One of Sinnoh's biggest defining features was the underground. I already talked about it a lot in the past video, so I'm not going to go too far into it here, but I really want to see the underground renovated for modern Pokemon audiences. I really just want this to be like a multiplayer utopia, where you can have your secret bases, you can still set your traps and mine for treasure, though I'm not sure how that's going to work without a stylus. You could even throw in the curry cooking thing to do with your friends, though it would definitely be Poffin cooking instead, since it's Sinnoh. I would have said that they could even put max raid battles down here, but like I said before, I highly doubt it's going to be in the game, which I don't mind at all. My one request is, please don't automatically load in every player on Earth when I connect to the internet. It would be great to just have an option where it's only me and my Nintendo Switch friends running around and having a good time. Hopefully it wouldn't lag nearly as bad, and it would just be a generally better experience all around. I think that with modern Wi-Fi features, they can make the underground really impressive, but it is tied to Nintendo Online, so I really hope they don't drop the ball. Another thing I want to touch on is the Platinum improvements. Granted, we already touched on the regional decks, so this is just the other stuff. Like I noted at the beginning, the game looks disturbingly similar to Diamond and Pearl, and I'm very worried that means that a lot of Platinum's good changes are just going to vanish into the void. Since Game Freak isn't actually developing the game, my biggest fear is that this new company is just going to make the most faithful Diamond and Pearl remake imaginable out of respect for the source material. I do think that there's probably going to be a Platinum episode with like Giratina, the Distortion World, and the post-game, but I really hope it's not like ORAS, where all the content from the enhanced game is just shoehorned in this hour-long segment of the game. Any improvements that Platinum made, be it to the main story or the post-game, should still be there outside of the Platinum episode. Like, give gym leaders their Platinum teams, make Fantina the 3rd gym leader and not the 5th, put Looker and Kairon in the main story, all that stuff. Heart Gold and Soul Silver did a particularly good job with integrating the crystal content, especially with how they handled Eugene and Suicune, so I want more of that. The way ORAS discarded a lot of the Emerald stuff rubbed me the wrong way, so please don't let the Platinum stuff go by the wayside. This one is really important. And that's a segue into my next topic, the Battle Frontier / the post-game as a whole. Yes, the Battle Frontier is so important that it warrants its own segment. If you're a hardcore fan who is going to get as many hours as possible out of this game, most of those hours are probably coming from the Battle Frontier. I'm worried because, as I've said in the past, if it gets down to crunch time and the games need to come out, I'm expecting the Battle Frontier to be the first thing on the cutting room floor. And for the love of God, if it is there, don't make it easy. I already have a feeling that the difficulty of the main story is going to be immensely toned down from what it originally was, and that, under no circumstances, is how the Battle Frontier should be. The whole point of the Battle Frontier is that it's supposed to be hard. But anyway, just don't cut corners on any of the post-game content. I feel like they'll be tempted to, but Diamond and Pearl has such a good post-game. There's so much to do. If any of it is missing, people are gonna notice. And last, but certainly not least, mythical Pokemon. These need to be handled with the utmost care. Darkrai on New Moon Island, Shaman at the Flower Paradise, and I'll even throw in the scrapped Arceus Hall of Origin event. Just make sure all 3 of those get the right treatment. You could even throw in a Manaphy side quest because I don't know how you're supposed to get it without Pokemon Ranger. Just don't make it so the random NPC gives it to you. Many people consider these to be the last mythical Pokemon to receive proper treatment from their in-game events, although the Gen 5 ones weren't awful. Just make these guys feel special. Use this opportunity to revitalize mythical Pokemon as a whole. If they wanted to, they could probably give Darkrai, Shaman, and Arceus their own post-game episodes that aren't Wi-Fi connected in any way, but maybe that's being a little too hopeful. And that is going to do it for my thoughts on the Diamond and Pearl remake so far. Mainly, I just hope it's not faithful to a fault because Diamond and Pearl had a lot of those. Also, I kinda hope they clean up this game graphically. I don't mind the chibis, I think they look really charming and the overworld environments and the lighting is all good. It's mostly in the character models. Me and my friends were watching the reveal and we all remarked on how the character models look like something you'd see out of a Chinese knockoff, but like, look at this character art we got. They look so much cleaner. Likewise, the Pokemon models also look a little flat, but I think they'll have more than enough time to spruce it up a little. Just a few more announcements before I go. First of all, we finished recording the 100,000 subscriber special last week, so it's probably going to premiere here on YouTube in a few days, so thank you again for your support. And furthermore, we're definitely going to talk about both the DP remakes and Pokemon Legends in the coming weeks, so if you're new, make sure you subscribe, you won't want to miss it. That's all for now, I'll see you guys next time.